Hi everyone, welcome. For those who are watching, I'm Pavana Shashidhar and I hope you are all doing well. Today's conversation is about something most founders feel deeply but rarely talk about clearly: what actually holds a company together before the growth becomes visible. Most people talk about moving quickly, but fast growth without the right foundation can break things. And in marketplaces, especially freelance platform, one thing becomes very clear: trust is not a soft value, trust is infrastructure. My guest today is an entrepreneur who didn't just build a freelance marketplace but built one grounded in legal clarity, discipline system, and long term credibility. Please welcome the founder and CEO of Useme, Przemek Głośny. Przemek, welcome.
Hi, Pavana. Thanks for having me. Nice to talk to you.
I'm really happy to have you here. Before we go serious, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. If not, please bear with me.
I guess it's difficult. You would have to be Portuguese or Polish to make it like you, but you're doing very fine.
Thank you. All right, get into the conversation. Maybe the best place to begin with is not the work company today, but the problem that started everything. I want to start before the product, before the platform, before the company story. Many strong companies begin by noticing something that everyone else has already accepted as normal. In freelancing, delayed payments, unclear contracts, client uncertainties, and cross-border friction were almost treated like a part of the job. So when you first looked at this space, what was the broken thing that people has already accepted as normal?
Even back then, before starting the platform, I was running a lifestyle magazine, and all the time when I was hiring freelancers back then, I had a lot of problems with bureaucracy. I mean, we were sending back and forth all the documents to sign remote contracts. It was like almost 20 years ago, and everybody was used to that. And I found that this is really annoying because everybody is waiting for money, and we are waiting for the post office to send all the information, all the documents, and it just delayed the whole process. So first of all, I was trying to solve my own problem, how to make it easier, and when I started to think about it, then I get, okay, this is the problem that some other companies might have. So it was like 6 or even 5 or 6 years before I started the project, but it was just solving my own problem and just recognizing all around that that's not only me who has this kind of problem.
That's interesting because when the broken system becomes normal, the company that fixes it, it's not just building a product. I think it's changing the standard. That gives us the origin. Now I wanted to move from problem to the system you built around it. Credibility is easy to claim in messaging, but in freelancing, reliability is proven in ordinary moments: when payments is due, when the work is delivered, and when the expectations are unclear, or when the people work across the border without ever meeting. So when confidence is actually built into the operations, what does it look like?
When we first started the platform, actually I was like, a lot of solutions we made and a lot of decisions we made back then was like mainly intuition. And we didn't, I mean, at the very beginning, I couldn't really explain why we chose that idea, but we were just iterating and trying what helps people and what they find valuable. So, and later on, I realized that actually we were just using the real life, like people like act in real life. So whenever like building the confidence you mentioned. So always when you meet with people, I mean, when you try to connect people that don't know each other, then you need to build trust around them, or try to build something like that around them. But when we pivoted with our solution to the accounting remote jobs, and we realized that actually our solution is usable and valuable for people that know each other from wherever they meet in other networks, real life, or they're just working together like more frequently than just once, we don't have that kind of problem of trustability between them because they know each other, they can talk with each other, and they just come to us just to solve the problem of like the last mile of accounting. So there wasn't most of the problems they solved between them, and they didn't come to us with that kind of problem. When you leave an open space for people to discuss between both sides, too many solutions within the product. And as I said, we didn't realize that we are doing that. Well, but actually, we just realized a few years later that we just used just a kind of network solutions on a real life acting within the product, and it just worked that way, and that it works until today because we have like several thousand contracts every month, and only several dozen, the few dozens of them are something like we call disputes. So when both sides cannot communicate with each other, they just come to us to solve their problem. And it's just, it's not even a percentage. It's like contracts that we account.
Add on to that, which part has to be solved first, like payments, contracts, legal clarity, or client confidence?
Okay. Our North Star is concerned about from filling a form on our site to money on freelancer's account need to be like really quick. What like our North Star is like we want to have like most of the contracts paid out within 24 hours. That means that we need to do a lot of checking in the backend of the process. So like, for example, there are few third parties that are interested, not only those parties that connect with each other, but also there are some third parties, especially in the European Union. It's something very important that, KYC, AML, and all the stuff like that. So first of all, both sides, we need to have clear information about both sides in terms of this KYC and anti-money laundering issues. So we need to check both sides in the back end. And also both sides between them, they need to be confident that employer need to be confident that opening the work with the freelancers, that they work with the guy or girl who they are really seeking for. So there are some answers to provide them within the service, like referrals, some former projects they can just look over to see that to be confident that they are working with the right person. And if it comes to the employer perspective, like from the freelancer's perspective, but to the client's perspective, the other part, we don't care too much about it, and I explain why. Because designed first years by like intuition, but we just and then we kind of made some field, we just came up with the explanation why it works. But employer cannot download the work files before paying for that. So whenever you use me and you want to send the work to the employer, if you send it through UseMe, you can be sure that employer cannot download your work before paying for that. So that way it attracts employer to pay fast, to get a fast access to the work files. And on the other hand, it's safe for the employer because we don't pay money to the freelancer unless it's accepted. So the trust between the confidence between freelancers and the clients, it's solved that way. So just the money, you get the access when you pay. That's it.
And this is where the credibility becomes more serious because it is easy to protect when it costs nothing, and the real test is when it affects the money. The company can sometimes earn more by holding payments longer or delaying payouts. On paper, that may look like a smart financial optimization, but in real life, it can quietly damage the long-term credibility. So how do you decide when a short-term revenue becomes too expensive for the long-term confidence?
Good question. Before COVID, before 2020. Our business model wasn't easy to understand for everyone because, like, accounting remote jobs, what is it, remote jobs? I mean, I know that a lot of people in the United States that are working remotely, like for many, many years. But like in Europe, it wasn't very popular before COVID. But after the COVID, we realized that, a lot of solutions came to life that are competitive. I mean, we just like a lot of competition grew around us. And we needed to think it over how we want to differentiate between us and other services. And we decided that, this quick payments to freelancers, this is something that we want to differentiate because we saw that using global marketplaces, to wait for the money for the payout, it takes like at least 7 or even 14 days. And when we decided that, we realized that, we weren't very sure if it's important for our users because, we first thought that, if you know where the money comes, then it's more important than to have money like quick on your account. But then we did some tests and we realized that if we delay that for a day or two, then people like just complain why they need to wait for the money. They're used to get money really quickly. Then we realized that value is really important for our users. So even though we could make more payouts, when we put our North Star that way, then losing some money in the short term makes more credibility in the long term. And that way, we are growing the like constant way because people trust us, because people trust that they're gonna get money from us really fast. So this is like something we probably lose some money in the short term, but we build a credibility in the long term.
That's a very founder level decision because credibility sometimes has a real financial cost. That makes me think about a founder decision making more broadly because these choices are rarely clean and obvious from the inside. Every founder eventually faces decisions where there is no perfect data, no perfect timing, and no perfect answer, only trade off. From the outside, people see the final result, but inside the company, there is invisible decisions that people never hear about. Can you share that one decision in Useme's journey that felt risky at the time, but later become so important?
First of all, I don't think you can make, I mean, even if you think you have all the information needed to make a right decision, you can be never sure. You have all the information that you, like there are some things you didn't think about when making the decision, and then you realize that you didn't think about something. So even though you have all the information, it doesn't mean you can make the right decision. Because like we discussed it internally, that and we repeat it like time to time, that if people could do like a great research, ask everybody about something, and like get like a lot of response and be kind of sure that this is the right decision. If everybody worked that way, we could have only perfect solutions and perfect services and perfect products. And it doesn't work that way, isn't it? So does it? So you always all the decisions you make, like in everyday life, there is like a factor of risk in every decision you make every day because you can be never sure about the outputs of your decision, even if you have all the information. And all the thing is like, of course, more difficult is making decision when you don't have all the information needed. So this is like another level of making it hard. So what I do, what I use myself, and I also try to implement it within the whole company, that to not be afraid of making mistakes with taking decisions, but make sure that you can reverse all the consequences of the decision, and to revisit that if you make a bad decision. So that way, and also within our company's culture, we have to not be afraid of making mistakes, because everybody can make a mistake. But the goal is to not repeat the same mistake. And another thing that what I mentioned before, to make sure that all the decisions you make could be reversed if something wrong happened. Of course, you don't have that kind of options in every decision you make, because sometimes, for example, you change pricing. And you cannot change you made a bad decision, but you cannot change pricing the very next day because people get confused. But just make sure you can reverse that in some time and also admit to the mistake you make, because like honest with your clients, honest with your users, honestly with your users, I think they appreciate that.
That's the part of founders' life people rarely see, the invisible judgment behind the visible growth. That connects with something you posted yesterday on LinkedIn, which I found very interesting. You wrote about organizational culture and how sometimes culture is not something you write down neatly, but sometimes that becomes visible through habits, decisions, and how people act when pressure comes. The example you shared about your team responding to the scammers really stood out to me because no one had to force them and no one had to monitor them, and people from the different teams organized themselves. To me, that feels like a culture becoming visible in the crisis. So, my question is, when pressure comes, how can a founder know whether the company culture is real, not just written values?
The example you mentioned my post yesterday, because I was just kind of impressed how the problem was solved by my team, and I think the first test of what kind of culture you build within your company is like that, how the team is dealing with some crisis. So if you need to make all the decisions, you need to point to someone, you need to do that, and you need to do that, and then that you didn't build like a good culture of solving problems. And from the founder's perspective, I guess I'm sure this is like could be like overwhelming, because like you cannot leave the company by itself. You just need to take care all the time of what's going on, and you need to like just look around if everything is okay, checking like day to day. I don't do it right now because I know we have like built like the culture of ownership, and this is crucial here. Like you just don't focus on task. You just look around. If your task or like the thing what you're doing can affect anyone around you, or other features, other users, whatever, I mean, it can affect. So if you build that kind of ownership within the company, then you can see that it works like by itself, kind of. And I was wondering about it, how if it should be written or not. We discussed it. I was attending some in some event discussion. I was listening to some discussion, and then I also discussed about it with some friends of mine, also founders. And we weren't. There wasn't like a right answer. If you need, write it down, or you don't have to. But my impression after, it's not like after yesterday, it's just grew within me like for like few weeks or so, or months even, that if you just write it down, it doesn't mean anything, because like these are rules that people can just read and forget about it a week after. But if you see that it works and it's not written, then this is the real culture. So this is like how people behave, how people solve problems, how people interact. And you cannot write it down. You just need to see if it works or not. If it doesn't work, then you just need to work bottom down, top down, whatever. But just writing it down doesn't solve the problem.
That's very true. And for the founders listening, I think this is where your experience becomes very practical. Many early founders are obsessed with launching fast, and momentum matters, of course. But if the momentum is not supported by the right operating system, the company may grow faster than its own safeguards. What would you tell a founder who is building quickly but has not yet built the system that protect confidence between the both ends?
Great question. I was wondering about it because I was watching a lot of different startups and founders, and seeing that most of them are just bringing a lot of features to their solution, to their products. And I was wondering if it's like good idea or not. And and I was thinking how we want to build our company. And then I realized that the focus is one of the most important things in the company, because if you just try deliver new features, then you may realize that you are building stuff that are not really valuable for the clients. And like always, there is one thing in every product, in every service, there is one thing that's crucial for the users, and the rest is just a nice to have or something that can be useful, but this is not the thing that they come for. For example, like let's use people using ChatGPT. Okay, they use it to find some answers, to find some information, and of course, some of them will use the browser within the ChatGPT. But is it crucial to have a browser within ChatGPT? I don't think so. So they don't come. They may like the browser with GPT, but if you I don't say it's a good or wrong decision. I mean, considering OpenAI, I'm just like thought about it, like especially if you are like a smaller company, because I mean we are not the company that raised $300 billion, several thousand people working there, but still, even if you are a company like that, then keep sticking with that example. Building that browser means that you need to work on it later on, because you just cannot build something and leave it by itself. You just need to work on it and develop it like later on. And this is is it a real core of your service, or what are you doing? Why are you doing that? So, I mean, the OpenAI example, it's probably not the most suitable for most of the founders, because I mean, I'm not OpenAI, and most of our listeners probably are not OpenAI also. But and we mostly work in like much smaller companies. Then the focus is even more important. And I thought like a lot of people are trying to build a lot of features around the product, and while they forget about what's the core of the business, and also what's the most valuable for the business. So you tried. We made the same mistake. I don't say this is the knowledge I get from my experience, because like we had some times when we were building a lot of different stuff around our service, and then we realized that people just start writing to us. Why the hell are you wasting time on that? I mean, when we have to wait for something and it doesn't work, and this is crucial for us. And then we realize our own users are saying us, okay, this is the wrong direction. We need to come back to focus on what's the most important for our users and prioritize, because sometimes some additional stuff might be useful, but this is a matter of prioritization. What's the most important and what's nice to have that you can build when you have some free time and you don't know what to do.
That makes sense. Finally, I wanted to look ahead, because all of this happening while work itself is changing very quickly. AI is changing how work gets done. Global teams are becoming normal, and more people want independence. But the client also expect more professionalism. So, what will separate freelancers who remain replaceable from the freelancers who become truly valuable?
Might be controversial, but I don't think like the AI solutions we know right now are going to be much better than we know it right now. I mean, they might be working better, giving like better answers, or giving like better solutions. But I don't think all this ChatGPT and all the agents are going to be, the technology around that are going to be much better than it is right now. In details, of course, it will be, because right now it makes a lot of mistakes, and it won't in the near future. But still, if you, as I said, it might be controversial because I may be wrong. That's the way I feel about it. But if I'm not wrong, I mean, even if I'm wrong, it's still a tool, and this is just a tool, and yeah, I don't believe that this tool is going to exchange people in the process of work. It can help people to don't waste time on repeatable and simple tasks that people usually waste in everyday work. Think about when you consider how much time do you have like daily for a deep work to think about solutions? And like usually, like this is my perspective. Some other perspective might be a little bit different, but I'm just in everyday working life, I'm just running all the time because I have like so many tasks to do. And if I had some more time to think about some solutions, to think about some features, to think about some answers to the important questions, then my time at work might be much more efficient. So from that perspective, AI is helping me, and I don't consider that as my competition. This is the tool I'm using to make myself more effective. So the way I think about AI and freelancing, I think that probably in the near future, and it's happening right now, that if you look at the number of projects may be a bit lower, but at the very same time, the price of the projects might get like a bit higher because within just one project, you get more rather than just a quick like copywriting task. You get like, take care of my social media profile and add some copywriting, but also take care, make sure that I'm just writing to the clients, to just people I want to reach. So we believe, excuse me, that freelancers armed with AI right now can compete with small agencies. And from that perspective, that probably they're going to be like less tasks, but the value of our global freelance budgets may also at the same time rise. And at the very same time, the number of freelancers maybe even a bit low. I believe that it can even grow because right now a lot of corporations, like huge companies, they don't work with freelancers, and when they see that the proficiency of freelancers grows because of the tools they're using, we expect that huge corporations may start to work with freelancers, and they don't do it right now. So the market can be just much wider than it is right now. So I know if you look at it from the USA perspective, you can hear a lot that people are cutting the workforce, but you don't see. But if you just look at it closer, then you may realize that most of the companies are just laying off people and then they hiring people again. So, and this is something that you can see like in many examples.
That's interesting answer. As someone listening from an Indian context, this part feels especially relevant because India has huge freelancer and startup ecosystem. We have strong talent, ambition, and global opportunity, but many freelancers still face gaps around payment security, contracts, client confidence, and international work. So, from your perspective, when you look at the market like India, is the bigger opportunity another freelancer marketplace or the infrastructure that makes freelancing safer?
I think the infrastructure that makes freelancing safer is more important here. Yeah, this is just a hypothesis. I'm not sure. I mean, this is like a bet. I mean, we can never be sure about some bets, but like I see the typical marketplace, the idea that employers just add a job post and wait for offers from freelancers will kind of vanish in like a near future. I mean, I don't say it's not going to vanish completely, but it's not going to be as popular as it is right now. Because like AI brings you a lot of different new solutions, like, and also from the matchmaking perspective, you can find like the better match, not just waiting for an offer from someone, but just to match the perfect contractor, perfect expert to your needs. So from that perspective, just waiting for job posts to be posted on some marketplace and then wait to whoever just gonna apply to that job post. This is like the old world. The new world is like, I'm looking for an expert that is very good at Python and also had some experience like in working with social media. And actually the future of work from my perspective is going to be more around project managers rather than like just like expert within like one domain. So probably we're gonna have like more kind of project designers, project managers rather than just the pure developers. So just finding the right person according to the referrals, to the references, that will be from my perspective, the future of matchmaking between those both sides, freelancers and employers. And it doesn't work that way in marketplaces. So I'm sure India is like I really like, when I think about it, we are not focused on India right now, but we are thinking about it because there are like plenty of talents living there. And I see that this is, I believe that your country is going to be one of the leaders in the near future. And then how to, just the infrastructure to make the payments easy, to make all the KYC compliance, stuff like that around that. It's, from my perspective, much more crucial than just a typical marketplace as we know it right now.
That's exactly why this matters. Talent is already global, but the support system are still catching up. That naturally leads to the kind of growth you choose, because not every company needs to win by being the loudest or the fastest. One thing I find very interesting is the difference between growing fast and growing well. In today's startup world, success is often linked with raising money, rapid expansion, and chasing scale. But patient growth can create a different kind of a company, closer to real customers and real revenue and real discipline. So what do founders often misunderstand about VC background growth versus patient bootstrap growth?
It's like 2 weeks ago or so, I was listening to one of the episodes in Lenny's podcast, and it was an episode with Eric Ries. I hope I pronounced the surname well. But this is the guy that's a lean startup. It was very popular some time ago. And he doesn't write too many books every year, but like he wrote a new one. And it's Incorruptible. I think that was the title of the book. And he was talking about why that we didn't realize that, trying to grow fast, we sometimes lose the control over the company we build. And this is something people don't really think of when they think about how to grow fast, how to raise money. That first fund you get to your company, this is the monkey on your shoulder that's gonna stay with you for a long time. And like they don't just it's not free money. This is something like this money comes with expectations. And everything works fine if you grow fine. But we all see in the media only these successful stories. And you don't see the stories that, the companies that they didn't grow the way funds expected and investors expected. And we just read about all these startups that grew great and right now are, unicorns, whatever. But you don't find too many stories about startups that didn't make it. And it's not fun anymore if you don't grow the way you expected. So coming back to your question, I think longer you wait with funding, looking for funds, better offer you get. That's the one thing. And the other thing is you take a lot more control over the company. And also you don't want to, even if you want to raise money, because it's normal. Not everybody has their own savings to build a company. It's we can use that kind of services because it's a great idea in the 21st century to try to find some investors. But even though if you look for the investors, you can secure your values, ideas that were behind the project. And this is something that this Eric Ries, I mentioned at the very beginning of the answer, talks about. And look at the Anthropic. This is a great example. They just a few weeks ago, they just announced that they're not going to work with Pentagon anymore because they used the solution to some attacks in Iran and they didn't like it. And they just, how many companies can find that resign from from that kind of contract and that kind of money. And we don't say about $200 million that what this contract was about, but also this is kind of client that can stay with you forever. So trapping that client, saying that we don't want to work with you anymore, is like a really brave decision. And from that perspective, you're losing some money, but you're gaining some respect. So sometimes we discuss it like in former questions, long term over short term. Sometimes making harder decisions make it easier in the future. So right now, if you stick with your values, you stick with some funds that you want to, these are the values we follow. We don't want to change that. And you either expect it or not. And perhaps some funds will say, okay, we don't want to invest in you if you have that kind of values because we want to change your values. But it doesn't mean you can find any investors if you stick with your values. But if you stick with it and you find the right investors, then it's going to be easier for you in the long term. Just like look at this example of Anthropic. They say no to Pentagon and then they just raise like a great round just a few weeks later. So this is like a great example that just losing a client doesn't mean you're losing money.
Add on to that question, do you think slower growth can sometimes give founders more freedom to make better long-term decisions, especially now with the AI companies growing extremely fast and sometimes disappearing fast too? Do you think patience is becoming underrated?
I completely agree with you. You're right. But it's difficult. We are living, this is something that kind of defines our species, like a humankind. We always want to make something more. We want to make more money. We want to grow the company. Look at the global economy. Everybody's thinking about how the company is growing. But nobody, if you look at the stock market, like Apple, they are profitable company making a lot of money. But if they just don't meet the forecast they made like one quarter before, the shares just got lower, even though they are still great company and they are still making profit because we expected that they're gonna grow faster. I think we forget what's really important for me. That's this is enough approach. I think a lot of companies forget about it. That you can build a company, you can make it profitable, and it doesn't mean you need to grow every year. Perhaps it's enough. There are like great examples, like Basecamp is a very good example of the company that they decided that they don't want to be more than 50, 60 people. They don't want to be they don't want to be unicorn. They want to build good product and they want to stick with it. And how many Basecamps, not too many. It's like a great example because the 99% of other companies are thinking about how to grow faster. And if you grow faster, then you raising money, using control, and you're just getting more and more work every day, every year. And it's pretty difficult to work like on the same level of efficiency every year. You just need to be mixed like the very fast year with some slower year to make it efficient because we are just men. We cannot live in stress for the whole year, the whole life.
That's true. We've gone quite deep, so I want to switch the energy a little. Let's do a quick rapid fire. Short answers are completely fine, no pressure. Can we do that?
Yes, I try. I hope so. So I try.
Momentum or discipline? What do you prefer?
Discipline.
Credibility.
I wish I would prefer. That's something difficult, but discipline.
Credibility or growth?
Credibility.
A most underrated founder skill?
Patience. I think I'm kind of influenced by your questions, but that's the rapid answer.
Okay. One mistake freelancers make?
They try to please their clients without looking at their own values.
And one mistake clients make?
They don't give detailed description of a job they need.
One market people should watch?
India.
One company or a founder people should study right now.
I would say Intercom or Anthropic.
One word for the future of freelancing.
AI. I mean, it's not one word, but just one acronym.
One question more founders should ask themselves.
Do I really remember about my values that drove me before? Didn't I forget about values that were important to me?
That's interesting. So before we close, I wanted to leave the audience with something they can carry on from this conversation. So first, if this conversation has to leave founders and freelancers with one idea, what should they remember?
You don't need to raise money in order to build a great company. Bootstrapping is also a great idea and leave you control of the company. So first, work with your clients and don't build a company to raise money, build a company that people will love.
And the second one, if this founder conversation series continues, what kind of a founder or company or a market do you think I should explore next?
This is a wide question, like the wide company market. I think very interesting would be all the companies like working with some AI products, because this is something that's changing the environment. They're growing very fast. Sometimes they are dropping very fast. So this is like really untypical for the previous years. So looking at their experience, how they see life, how they see the business model, I think it could be interesting. So whatever kind of company that's building product like around AI, that's my choice.
That's perfect. I keep that in mind. Thank you so much. This was a thoughtful and very grounded conversation. For me personally, it has been an honor to meet you and learn from the way you think. I genuinely wish we had more time to continue this conversation because there is so much more to explore. But I hope this is just the beginning, and I truly hope we can get to meet in person one day. What I'm taking away from this conversation is that stronger companies are not only built through momentum, funding, or ambition. They are built through system that makes confidence repeatable. And for everyone listening, the real lesson is independence becomes powerful only when it is supported by the right system. Thank you for joining. Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure, Pavana. I hope to meet you in a real life one day. I need to go to India. I've never been there. So whenever you come to Poland or Europe, just let me know. Thank you it was a pleasure talking to you.
From India, I'm inviting you to be here. I hope we can meet here. So thank you so much. Thank you for your
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.